Thank you for your patience. Good morning, everyone. We are going to be today, and thank you for joining us today, we are going to be announcing a significant investment in the Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis. And to start us off, I want to introduce our County Executive to provide some remarks.
Thank you. So we got some board members here. Raise your hand if you're on the board of HACA. All right, great, good. I'm Stuart Pittman and Arundel County Executive, and you're probably wondering why I'm here, but I will explain. First, by giving thanks to a lot of people for why we're here. I think starting on this side, and probably starting with Congresswoman Elfreth, former senator, when she was senator, she would often be the convener of the delegation, but convener of me, often ringing the alarm bells about things that need to happen in the district. And the financial crisis with HACA has been for a few years, something that the alarm bells have been rung over. So I want to thank you, Congresswoman. I want to thank Dana Jones, who has been at all the meetings that were involved in this, Delegate Jones, and then now Senator Shanika Henson, who has been really the person that I have been going to, who knows a lot of the board members, who stayed very close to Melissa Maddox Evans, who is going to be speaking later, who is our CEO here. And my question was, well, can the county help? I know I've been talking to the mayor about this a whole lot too, and the older woman and everybody. Everybody has been trying to help solve the problem, but it's been a really complicated problem. So what we did was we thought we have a little bit of leftover federal money that we could put towards a solution, but we wanted to make sure that it was the right solution. And so we brought in Cliff Martin, who was the director of the Housing Commission of Anne Arundel County, to do an assessment, to meet with Melissa, to meet with the team, and to figure out exactly what needed to be done and what it would cost. And so he came up with 4 recommendations. Cliff is not here. Seems to be traveling around the country now consulting with housing authorities. But the first was that there were issues with HUD, the regulatory issues that were really threatening this agency as a result partly of lack of staffing, being able to keep up, and a result partly of probably dysfunction at HUD. I hope there's nobody here from HUD, but everybody acknowledges there's some dysfunction at HUD. And so catching up with some of that delinquent work was absolutely essential to prevent HUD from doing something drastic here that would hurt the tenants and the residents. The next was to make sure that all units were licensed and that therefore there would be revenue coming in for operating expenses here by having the units filled with tenants who were paying rent. And there were, I think at the time he started, there were 190 some units. Then there were 157 when we got the report. I don't know what the number is now. I know it's been decreasing. And there was an estimate of about $500,000 to get those units up to standard. And the city of Annapolis was already on that. So the city of Annapolis is putting in $500,000 to cover that work, had done so already, and I think that's been announced. Yeah. And then the third was deal with the lawsuits that are threatening the existence of this organization. Lawsuits that need to be mediated, because if the money is all going to pay lawyers, if these lawsuits continue, it is really a distraction from doing the work of making these units livable and keeping this organization afloat. So I know conversations are underway and will continue to be underway on mediating those. And then fourth was that the operating deficit for this organization, as a result of the other problems, as a result of having to try to get these units, these old units, up to code, was making it almost impossible to deliver services and keep the organization running. And so there was a figure in the $500,000 to $1 million range, maybe even more, to do that. The good news is that in 3 to 6 years, that 3 of these communities will be the RAD conversions, the rental assistance demonstration program that the county has done with almost all of its public housing at this point, and that will mean that the units will be owned and operated by another entity, and then the Housing Choice Voucher Program will be run through this organization. So we have to get to the point where that work gets done. And I know the city and the state have invested heavily in getting that work going. So the county has come up with the $500,000. The city has come up with $500,000. And then we knew we were a little bit short. And we happened to be meeting with Secretary Day and his team. Where'd you go?
Right here.
Oh, there you are. You were there a minute ago.
Musical chairs. Musical chairs.
Okay. And they actually asked us if there's anything they could do to help. And of course we said money. And I don't know where you found that $300,000.
I'll talk about it.
I don't think it was in any special program. But the important thing is that you found it sort of as an emergency contribution to this. So this means that we don't have to do anything drastic. We don't have to go to HUD and say, you guys take over and solve the problem. Local government, state government, and city government is stepping up and working with the organization, with Melissa. Also brought in a consultant to help with some of the work, Quidel. And the way I see it is that we're on track. And that is absolutely essential because here we are in a county and a city that has a huge housing crisis, and it's hard enough to get new housing units online that are affordable for our workforce and our people. If we lose what we have, we've got a huge crisis. And in this time, in this environment, we don't know what the federal government is going to do or not do to help folks who are struggling with their basic monthly expenses, but we don't expect a whole lot, and so we have to step up and do this. So those are my comments, and I will start bringing up the folks who are going to be telling you about some of the details, starting with our remarkable Congresswoman Sarah Elfreth.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive, and that was a great lead up to what I have to say. First of all, I'm just grateful that we are here, hyper-local government in HACA, local government in the city of Annapolis, county government, state government, our partners at DHCD. This is what Team Maryland does best. This is when we have a true crisis, and when Melissa calls me, I know that it is a true crisis and we all need to step up. So Melissa, thank you for ringing the alarm for us. Thank you to my partners for ensuring that when we put out the call we need to brainstorm, we need to get together, we need to dig through the challenges and the solutions that might be possible, and we each need to individually step up in any way that we can to help solve this crisis. I want to make it very clear that this did not happen overnight. The challenges that so many in our communities face, these are generations and generations of challenges that have built up. But I'm committed to each and every one of you, and I know my partners here are too, that we will be the generation to fix this. We will be the generation to solve many of the housing challenges, not just in the city and the county, but I know with Governor Moore's leadership in particular, we'll solve them across the state. My job got a lot harder in the last couple of weeks, being at the federal level. But Team Maryland, that idea that we need to all pull in the same direction, that it is not a competition, that it is a team effort to get things done and serve our constituents, that is ingrained in me, and I will continue to serve with each and every one of the folks up here to solve these challenges, regardless of HUD or regardless of the federal government. I will be there with you to solve the problems along the way. So I'm just grateful that we've been able to find some of the solutions to some of the problems. I'm committed to always being at the table with each and every one of you and continue this journey together. And with that, I'm going to bring up one of our best partners in this work, the Secretary of the Department of Housing and Community Development, Jake Day.
Well, good morning. It's good to be with you. I think the county executive said it best. Congresswoman Elfreth is a convener and has brought us all together at times to tackle the very pressing challenges that we have faced here. And this is, Team Maryland, that notion, I think, is really critical as well, because from my first days in this job, I found a team-oriented effort. The mayor, we toured around, right through the woods over here, didn't we? Melissa, you brought us into this room, my whole team, your team. We sat together and we talked about those challenges. And just recently, the county executive asked us to sit down, talk about a variety of issues facing Anne Arundelians, and the housing challenges that this community encounters, which aren't that different from what other parts of Maryland are facing. But when he said, we've got an immediate problem, we did try to solve it together. And I think we found a reasonable solution for today. But I do consider it a down payment. So that initiative was the discovery of $300,000 in what we're calling a Secretary's Award within the Community Legacy Program. This is not the first time. This is not the first time it's been done. But look, we recognized that there was a need. It was critical. We had a moment in time as we were reviewing the State Revitalization Program Fund Awards, and that it rose to a high level, maybe higher than any other project in the state in terms of the critical need and the criticality of the time. And so we made an award, and I'm glad that we can help. And I want you to know we won't stop here. Maryland is facing a housing shortage. It has reached crisis proportions, and we can't always look to the federal government. We can't always look to HUD to solve those problems for us. As the Congresswoman mentioned, the fight just got a lot harder. And I hope you all know that we back here are with you every step of the way, whether it's working with Secretary Turner now or arguing for changes in policy in Washington. We're with you. So know this. The RAD conversion process is going to be a long process for any of the properties that HACA has in its hands. But we stand with you to explore every possible way to help. We stand with you to solve each property redesign and redevelopment as a unique initiative focused on the people that live there. And so we'll be with you every step of the way. And I am excited that we have such a fantastic team to partner with. When I look around this room, I see a lot of people wearing new hats and new jobs. And that tells you something about this team. It tells you that they're here because of their hearts, not because of their title. They're here because they care about the residents of HACA's properties, of Annapolis, of Arundel County, and of Maryland. And one of those people who, regardless of title, gives a darn about his people and will fight every single day for them is Mayor Gavin Buckley, a partner. And I am so proud to call him a friend and also a fellow mayor. Can I say that? I'm not a mayor anymore, but I once was, so a fellow mayor. So let's hear it for Mayor Buckley.
Well, I'm very proud to be here standing with all the people around me, all of you guys. This says that Maryland has a heart. We are a team. We don't blame people. We just come together and we get to work to solve problems. And before I talk, I want you to look out the window and try to imagine. I want to talk about the future of where we are standing. A community that really wasn't given water access, that's had to develop their own goat trails to get across to the gym, to get across to the pool and all those sorts of things. I want you to imagine some of these invasive trees cut out of the way. I want you to imagine Hawkins Cove dredged so boats can come in here, water taxis can bring people home from downtown, fishing boats can pick people up and take them out onto the Chesapeake Bay. The reason that we live here. I want you to imagine people in public housing who have water views. I'm excited to sit on someone's balcony when it gets done, look out at this amazing place that we live in and get to know that it's not just for the millionaires to enjoy that everybody deserves an opportunity to get the things that most people move to Maryland for, not to be cut off from the water. So I want you to think about the future because the future is bright. Today, we have to solve how we can continue operations till we get to that point. Director Jakubiak is over here. He has committed us to accelerating the permit process. As soon as we get some designs, we can start on the first phase. We're standing in the first phase. The field next to us is the first phase. Spa Road is the first phase. Imagine what we can do and what we can build. And imagine doubling the capacity. We can bring more housing, more affordable housing to this area that we desperately need, not just in Maryland, but across the country. But our housing will be some of the best in the country because it'll be in an amazing spot like this. It'll be in the middle of the Arts District over near Maryland Hall. The future is bright. So thank you for being here today as we take another important step towards ensuring every resident of Annapolis has a safe and dignified place to call home. First, on behalf of the city residents and our Annapolis City Council, I want to extend my deep gratitude to Congresswoman Sarah Elfreth and our state partner, Shanika Henson, and Delegate Dana Jones, and Delegate Dylan Baylor, our new kid on the block, Maryland Housing Secretary Jake Day, and of course County Executive Pittman for the commitment to residents and housing here in our capital city. Your partnership with HACA and the City of Annapolis has been instrumental in securing much-needed resources. I thank you for standing with us to invest in the well-being of our residents and our communities. Last April, Executive Director of HACA, Melissa Maddox Evans, wrote to us all to outline the urgent fiscal issues facing the Housing Authority. We all came together to problem solve. I want to thank then Senator Elfreth, now Congresswoman Elfreth, for leading and facilitating the conversation. Since that time, the City Department of Planning and Zoning, under the leadership of Director Christian Kubiak, has been actively working in partnership with HACA. We've employed new staff to streamline joint coordination. We've modified our approach to property inspections, and last October, the City Council approved a $500,000 grant program to help fund maintenance repairs on HACA properties. This funding stream will support HACA to immediately address urgent repairs, especially structural and safety concerns. These repairs are more than just repairs of roofs and HVAC and pipes. They are a statement that we care, that we listen, and that we are committed to providing our most vulnerable residents with the quality of life they deserve. Because housing is not just about shelter, it's about stability, opportunity, and dignity. That's what everyone is here today who's working to deliver to HACA residents. And I'm so grateful for this partnership. We're all facing different economic challenges, but a joint effort like this maximizes our impact and ensures each contribution goes further than it would on its own. And as well as we all come together to support residents here, and know we do this with a very significant long-term goal in mind, the transformation of Eastport Terrace and Harbour House through the Choice Neighborhood Initiative under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The Choice Neighborhood Initiative, or CNI, will see this community reborn with a new mixed-use and mixed-income housing development, reimagined public spaces, including parks and water access, a host of other amenities and wraparound services. This change has the potential to uplift not just the residents of Eastport Terrace and Harbour House, but our whole entire city. The city has been an active partner with HACA in the CNI process since its inception 3 years ago. We are currently in the midst of an RFP process to identify a private development partner to ensure its success. We've also committed $1 million to the support of pre-development work on this site, money that was generously matched by our state partners in last year's budget. So again, a round of applause for our state partners for stepping up again. So we have a lot of work to do right now to progress CNI and keep supporting our residents, but there is a clear, life-changing goal in sight, and we are laser focused on getting there. To Melissa Maddox Evans and her team, my colleagues in government, our partners in non-profits and private sector, and to every individual who has worked tirelessly to make the progress on this complex and costly issue, I say thank you. These investments are not just in bricks and mortar, they are investments in families, in communities, and in futures. Finally, and above all, I want to thank our residents. Thank you for your patience, your resilience, and your advocacy. You're committed to working to build a stronger and more equitable Annapolis, one where every resident in every neighborhood lives in a home they can be proud of. Next up, I'd like to introduce our newly elected Senator Shanika Henson, who represents Annapolis on the City Council. Great to be here with you, Senator Henson. Thank you.
morning, everyone. Good morning. I am Senator Shanika Henson, representative of District 30 here in the proud city of Annapolis. Today, I am proud to stand alongside our state, our county, and our city partners as we take decisive action to stabilize the housing authority of the city of Annapolis, known as HACA. Safe, stable, and secure housing isn't a privilege. It's a fundamental right. But for far too long, HACA has faced critical financial and structural challenges leading to aging buildings, uninhabitable units, and mounting repairs that have left too many residents living in uncertainty. But behind every crumbling wall and delayed repair are people who call these legacy-rich and essential communities home, places where children grow, where seniors find solace, and where families build futures. Today, we take a bold step in restoring HACA with a $3.3 million investment from the state of Maryland, Anne Arundel County, and the city of Annapolis. This funding is more than a financial boost. It is a turning point. This recovery plan directly tackles the $2 million operating deficit, which has pushed the agency to the brink. By stabilizing finances and addressing urgent repairs, we are not just preserving public housing in Annapolis, we are building stability into it for the future. With over 100 units currently uninhabitable, these dollars will restore homes, meet city licensing requirements, and bring much-needed rental revenue to strengthen HACA's financial footing. It is also to prevent further service cuts, support essential staffing, and ensure residents receive the dignity and the responsiveness they deserve. To every resident who has spoken out and shared with us the unacceptable conditions you've experienced, we all hear you. We want you to know we are here collectively because we've heard you and we are responding. We stand with you and we will continue to work tirelessly to make sure that our HACA communities are places where every family can thrive. This funding is a lifeline, but our mission is far from over. Together, we will continue to build a future where every resident in Annapolis has access to safe and affordable housing. And with that, I will introduce my colleague, Delegate Dana Jones.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Delegate Dana Jones. I represent District 30A here in Annapolis, the capital city, as well as surrounding Anne Arundel County area. I have to start off first by saying thank you to all of my partners here. While, the work was put in all summer long at countless meetings where we talked about those who we care about the most. And it's the families of Annapolis. It's the children of Annapolis. The board members, along with my fellow leaders here, it is something that we don't take lightly. And time in and time again, Secretary Day, as I've called your office, your staff has been tremendous in helping, not just in this situation, but in many others. And so I'm so appreciative. So I have to shout out my new partner, Delegate Dylan. I'm so happy to be doing this work with you. So for all of you today, this really highlights the vital collaboration between local, state, and congressional leaders. The funding we are discussing today is critical for our entire city. More importantly, it's critical for Annapolitan families who are in dire need of safe and affordable housing. The partnership we built takes a multifaceted approach, beginning with ensuring that all existing units are safe and well-maintained and continuing with economic development and revitalization efforts. The $1 million in state capital budget last session provides the foundation for future investments. And I am so happy that as a member of the House Appropriations Committee, with then my partner, Senator Sarah Elfreth, now my Congresswoman, we were able to secure this funding, and I'm committed, even in the times that we find ourselves in, with a difficult and adversarial White House, to continuing at the state level, this team at the county, and with our new congressional leader, to doing everything we can to continue to be here for these children, these mothers, these fathers, and these families. So I look forward to the ongoing collaboration across all levels of government. Congresswoman Alfred, again, I have to thank you for your pivotal work on this issue during our time in the Senate and your continued support in Congress in an era when we have a presidential administration causing confusion, freezing of federal funds, disarray, all by design. I am proud to work alongside local leaders to continuing to do this. But let me just say a few words about our CEO and Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Annapolis, Melissa Maddox Evans. As I continue with you, a partner in this work, even 2 weeks ago, when we found ourselves late in the night, very early in the morning, to help our residents in Rumblewood turn on the heat. I am always here and always a partner to you. So with that, please.
Thank you, everyone, for attending today. This is truly a great event for many reasons. I want to first acknowledge our Board of Commissioners, Ms. Jackie Wells, our Bishop Craig Cokes, and Commissioner Henrietta Webb-Herbert. Ms. Wells and Ms. Webb-Herbert are residents of our communities, and our board contributes greatly to our cause and volunteers their time willingly, consistently, and I appreciate that. I also want to recognize Ms. Debbie Odom, who is part of our Resident Advisory Board and represents our powerful resident families and voices. Overall, we serve over 1,300 families in Annapolis. In our public housing communities is over 550 families. Families that are disabled persons, elderly persons, children, all types of families, working people that really are the backbone here of the city of Annapolis. And as has been previously stated, due to funding issues and environmental issues, the age of the units, this agency has had a difficult time in the past. I want to recognize our HACA staff members. You raise your hand. You're all quiet, cinnamony, nicely. And I want to recognize them because they have worked tirelessly and thanklessly in season and out of season, with funding, without funding. And the majority of my staff has, in the past, taken pay cuts in order to ensure that this agency stays afloat. And I am personally indebted to them for their dedication to that. I want to thank our leaders, Congresswoman Elfreth, who has been extremely consistent and passionate about the needs of our residents, Senator Henson, who likewise is always willing to assist HACA and cares about our residents, as well as Delegate Jones, who has been just committed to our cause. And what I can't thank you enough for is not only are you responsive when we bring issues to you, that you ask when I don't even ask the question. And you say, how are things going? And it's rare to have leaders that are sincerely committed. And I am appreciative of the commitment and the persistence in order to help our residents. I am very thankful for our county executive, who was willing and continues to be willing, along with the staff, Ms. Erin Karpowitz, who enables us to find the funding that we need, not just for our units now, but the units that we will have when we redevelop our properties. And for Secretary Day, who from day one was, I think within the first couple of weeks of you coming on board, you're at HACA. I'm like, oh, okay, he's here. All right. And was willing to bring his staff and learn about what our plans are and what our vision is and our desire to be able to not only develop new housing, but preserve and sustain the housing that we have now. And I want to thank our city officials, Mayor Buckley, and all the council members for being willing to be partners through this process. When I arrived in Annapolis, one of the first things I've tried to communicate to leaders is that a housing authority can thrive only if it's supported by its local government, the local municipality. It does not do well if it solely exists and relies on funding for the federal government. And we've been reminded about that in the past few weeks. And I think now it's really resonating and sinking in that although we may have received funds from HUD and other federal entities in the past, that funding is not always certain and is not always guaranteed. So it is prudent, and it is our responsibility as local leaders to come up with sustainable local solutions so we can solve our own issues and our own problems with less reliance on the federal government. I also want to just recognize our board chair, Mr. Andre Atkins, who recently has passed away. And it has been very devastating for our staff and our HACA family and our commissioners. And although he's in a much better place, he was a very strong advocate for HACA properties and for our programs and for helping the residents. He too was a resident of Harbor House here. So we want to acknowledge him and recognize him. So once again, I thank all of the leaders for stepping up, and all of the leaders for recognizing, as Congresswoman Elfreth has stated, that it takes Team Maryland to tackle these issues. We do have great plans in store. We are in the process of redeveloping our Robinwood communities, of creating sustainable solutions for Bloomsbury Square. We've already secured a developer for those projects, so we are on our way. We are in the process of selecting a developer for the Eastport Terrace and Harbor House communities. So despite the constant challenges, we are moving, and we continue to move. And I want to thank all of you for attending today for this event. Because it is extremely important for the welfare and the continual preservation and sustainability for our housing for our residents. So thank you. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Thank you. And I also want to thank the staff and Melissa for hanging in there during a situation that many would have walked away. So thank you. So any questions? All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. I don't think Alderwoman Pindell Charles has been recognized, who is always there in all public housing forums. And I also want to say that Councilwoman Lisa Rodvan would have been here if she could, represents this district on the county council and has been a huge advocate as well. So we got work to do still, and we all have each other's phone numbers, and we'll be there for each other, guaranteed. Thank you.
Thank you.